participants will provide the most meaningful information that you need on that phenomenon. And then this issue about reaching saturation, I avoid that, and I always make the PIs start with a minimal sample. There's already enough literature to tell us what is the minimal number of cases or people you need to engage to be able to answer that research question. Otherwise, people become lazy and they just go blindly, and we never really know when they are doing their work properly and checking. Because how do you check for saturation? It means in the protocol they must describe to you how they will take the interviews they've done, analyze them, pre-analyze them, to see whether they've reached saturation, then go back to the field. And they rarely have that plan, they don't even understand what they're doing. So I require often a minimum sample, and there's enough literature to guide on that, all right? And then the other keyword is representative. So we say if you're interviewing, for instance, the study I've given on pregnant mothers. So pregnant mothers, let's continue with that example. They had a birth plan in this Chongoria. They came to me and said, we told them about birth plan, and they had it. But in the end, some of them, a third of them, still gave birth at home. So when I'm thinking about the sample, the first thing you think about is, you used permanent. She used permanent. It's not being wrote here.
So why are they all there?
You see, I checked. So you say your population of study is pregnant mothers. No, they're not pregnant anymore. They've given birth recently. So that's the universe. That's where you're starting. I'm illustrating. Purposiveness already first is they were pregnant and they gave. So there's a reason. So you start asking. Oh, that's why you went for yellow. A fillable whiteboard. I know how to check on that. So I start asking myself, how do I make it as representative as possible? For instance, if I'm doing it in Chogoria, one of the things I will ask, this database of mothers, they were from how many wards? Or how many sub-counties, you see? So that may be one way of saying. Then I may say, there's some older mothers and some younger mothers. So age might be something else. Are you seeing what I'm doing? And then there may be something else. I don't know what would be important around here. Mothers who delivered, marriages. Yeah, you could do marital status. Do you want to add that one? You don't have to have so many segments, but there may be something else. Education level, maybe, yeah, because it seems to be playing a lot. So you ask yourself things like, and in some, like in Kilifi, I use distance to the facility. And sometimes we will say more than, 5 kilometers, and things like, so you contextualize. Then I will say, because I'm going to do 20 interviews, because Violet said 20 interviews definitely are a nice, will reach, is a minimum required, and you'll get value. So I will say, by age, I may want to split again into 2. And I will use maybe, I'm not sure I want to work with women who are below 18. No, the ethics committee will ask me more questions because they are minors. So I'm going to do 18-2. So we've seen people do something like 18-2, and you say maybe 18 to, 27 or whatever. And then from 27, I will say is older. So I will say, I want to hear at least from 3 women here. Are you saying I'm about to get a sample? So you can never have 0. So I will say, why do I take 3? Do you know why? Because I use the dot interview to triangulate information that may be different from 2 different women, to confirm, to probe. So I already have an N of 6 just using age. Then in the wards, there may be, you may distribute them and all that. Marital status, I may say I want at least 50% of the participants to be single versus other. And education, I may say I would like to hear at least people who have below, maybe below secondary, or you say primary, or primary and below. If you think research is showing people who, I think primary and below, you want to make sure you capture that. So when you're thinking about this, you might say, where do I start? Which is the most important? Is it wards? So that you say I have 4 wards and I have 20 interviews, so I will start here. And I will say I have 4 wards, so I can do 5, 5, 5. Then I say, oh, I wanted to have age. So you see what I'm doing? Then I say age category 1, age category 2. And I keep doing that, and I end up, when I write, I send this to the committee, they look and they say, this one knows what she's doing. She has ensured representativeness in the range and all that. All right? So when you tell the story and you're disseminating your findings, you're able to tell the stories of different groups of people, and it's very inclusive. And then you think about sample size, like I've said, there's a lot of literature out there, but for me, the default for a master's project, I need you to have at least a sample of 20. If it's in-depth interviews. If it's a PhD, at least 40 to 60 sessions of interaction. I'm assured you'll get rich enough data. So, but we say, once you start with the smallest number, some people say even as low as 6 is okay. You can hit saturation, but have a minimum sample and justify why you're adding or why you're saying you have saturated. All right? So data analysis. Yes, please.
How did you, 20 sounds very exciting if for a master's student and then just 20. So how did you decide 20 for master's, 40 to 60 for PhD? Just a little bit.
Again, it's, we say the objectives. First of all, I'm expecting when you're doing a master's, it's a training period. You're training to learn to be a scientist, to be a researcher. When you're doing a PhD, I'm a bit more hard on you. I'm expecting there's a bigger research gap you're trying to address, and we want to ensure that the representativeness, especially. You see here, I was already beginning to split hairs, and I was beginning to wonder, did you notice? I was wondering now after I do by age, will I have enough of this? So when you have 60, it allows you to have a richer representativeness. And I'm expecting your project to, this is to be more vibrant. But the masters, I expect you to sit down here and there. It's a time to learn how to do research. But at least with 20, it means, the reason I was saying 3, for each subcategory of participants, it's likely I will be able to see data, voices of people coming, at least from each subcategory, there will be at least 3 different voices.
What I'm having a difficult is actually that part for trying to see which population will be representative.
Yes.
What if you have no idea what is going to influence your representation? Because if you, I'm wondering if you do it like that, it's like you're going in with a sort of understanding. It's like you have some quantitative data somewhere that now you're employing to guide you to sample for your qualitative.
Exactly. No, use the last bullet. The whole point of this is to get a range of experiences. So if I am, you saw the mama in Majengo, if I'm a low socioeconomic person, my husband works in Nyeri, so I may have had more factors getting in the way of me delivering at the facility, although I had a bad plan, vis-a-vis someone who is single, lives within 1 kilometer of the facility, all those things. So you want to get representatives of the range of experiences, perspectives, and behaviors. So all those matter. So you're trying to increase the possibility that you won't hear from one type of group of women. If you go and interview, fine, they all give birth recently and all that, and they're all from one ward. Are you seeing what I mean? So you're going, there may be bias already that is by location. So the more you think about the splits, yeah, that's why I said I don't know what the splits would be. For me, each study is different. I don't use this criteria all the time. It depends on what I'm doing. Like in Kilifi, I'm interested in education. I'm interested in Mwenye, if she's married or not. And I'm interested in distance. I talked about the facility, how far it is, and even whether she has her own income or not. Because those have implications for the fare, coming with the kanga that they are supposed to carry in a bucket to come and deliver, things that make them shy away from coming. But when they have a birth plan, the bucket is already bought and all those other things. That's why we follow. Actually, it's a true study where it was an RCT, and they realized, although people had a birth plan and they were even being given money on delivery day at the facility, there was a grant for it. Some did. So they asked me, but I didn't even know that team were from Harvard. They asked me to come and check, John Hopkins, to take 20. They had 3 arms in the study. And they wanted me to check those who actually delivered those who did, and then those who didn't make it, to find out what changed. So this depends, it's not cast in stone. I would invite every peer. That's why they need, in qual, you really have to justify and explain to the ethics committee why you're making the decisions you're making. You may just need only one split, just the words and the age, and you're okay with it, and that's fine.
And if it's okay to ask, when you had questioned your previous slide, where you had quant and then qual, you said, I'm arguing with this one, I forget the name of the author, Newman. Is it because maybe Anne's observation is good, like there were things informing this? I think you referenced the idea that there might be literature commenting about the preparedness of what, or the war locations of what, or what. So those things might have been pre to the observation. So maybe you're commenting on like the review process and some of those things that might go into designing your study, qualitative as it is.
Yeah, that's correct. Like, actually, I always say we're building our work on the shoulders of giants. There's nothing new, and we just need, like you were saying, to recognize that that is there. So I just need to touch a bit. They need, in their protocol that they submit to you, to tell you how they plan to analyze the data. And sometimes people just say, I will do thematic analysis, and they leave it like that, and it's not very clear. But they need, when you're doing qualitative research, you need to have a plan on how you'll actually organize your data and then reduce it in a way that it can be analyzed. And that's all that coding is all about. It's taking all that mountain of transcripts and putting it into segments that you can actually use. And this is what we call coding. And I will explain just shortly what that means. Once you've arranged it in codes, you're able now to arrange it into baskets, like themes. And I'll give an example. So then you're able to display that. People say, oh, qualitative data is just a paragraph and stories. No, I use tables quite often to display and summarize the data. That can be done, and like I said, we can do that at another time. After you do that, now you interpret, and then you try to get meanings. And sometimes it's easier when you engage the stakeholders when you're sharing the findings. Because you ask them, I did a study with men who have sex with men in Eldoret. And one of the things I found out was a third of the men were married. So during the dissemination to the Ministry of Health and researchers in Eldoret, I invited 10 men who were having sex with men to their dissemination. Guess what? It was fireworks in there. My battery is running.
Oh, so this is.
Can I have this mine actually? And so.
I'm sorry, you mentioned that you intentionally invited 10, or it was inadvertent?
It was
intentionally. So what happened, actually there's a story around that, and we're out of time, but I don't have too many stories. Okay, it was connected, but when you bring them, they give you additional data. Because you allow, if you open up, and in fact you can end up putting people in groups to discuss the findings and they come in. But that particular question, in fact, I liked it when I saw the people who are homophobic say, but do you mean I could be in a pool, I could be in a triangle, and I don't know? Then you draw conclusions. But what happened in that meeting is, men who have sex with men, they are very, I say the word gay, not as in gayness, they're very happy. Gay also means jolly, and they're colorful, so they came in their colorful clothes. And I was having this dissemination at the Boma Hotel in Eldoret. That time actually it was the biggest hotel and it was new. You know what I'm talking about. And guess who else was having a meeting at Boma, the governor? So at lunchtime, there were all these gay people at lunch, high-fiving, want to pen a high-five, happy, all over the place. And I remember being looked for. And I just had, the manager of the hotel is calling you. So I went, I said, what is it? And he said, are you the one running the meeting in room X? I said, yes. Are those your people? So I have to say, actually, I really had to breathe. Because I immediately, most of my work at that point had been on stigma. That's partly where I was doing the work. And I was saying, we are saying we want to get to 0 infections. But you want to ignore the fact that there's an infection pool in your own community. I was speaking as a community health worker now.